Ain't nobody to do what me
Hey,
got to. What?
you've
Make
been
me
singing it.
happy.
I'm mad because you've been
Make me
singing this
feel
freaking
this
song,
way. Ain't
and it's gonna
nobody.
be stuck in my head. Can we
I
say
know.
something else? Hey, can we say some other shit,
No.
bro? Gigi likes to
Nah, we
trap.
good.
Gigi likes to drink.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. So
The generations. He's still
I
young.
guess it but depends on we the same genius.
You're still young mentally.
As you say, mentally, yeah, that's wild.
I'm playing, man.
Crazy thing. So since we're talking about generations, right? Let's list out these generations. So the greatest generation from 1901 to 1924 lived through the Great Depression and fought in World War II. The silent generation, 1925, 1945, grew up during war and post-war Reconstruction. Baby boomers, 1946 to 1964, born during the post-World War II consumption boom. Generation X or Gen X, 1965 to 1980, marked by the transition to globalization and early technology. Millennials, Gen Y, 1981 to 1996, raised during the rise of the internet and digital technology. Generation Z, 1997 to 2012, known as true digital natives with strong technological connections. Generation Alpha, 2013 to mid 2020s, children born entirely in the 21st century and highly connected. Generation Beta, mid 2020s to 2039. Now, with us both being millennials, right?
Yep.
Ooh,
Good old Y2K, baby. Let's bring it back.
we've seen so much and experienced so much. And that takes us into hey, we got Stump the Grump over there, still looking stuffy, but a little bit more energetic, and got that nice little oil sheen on his bald head. He gonna shine us into the future. And me, Big Grump,
Bling
just a
bling.
ray of sunshine. Always, always so happy to be here and
I don't know
always
about
happy to see your wonderful, beautiful faces.
I don't know
Because
about Ray, but like
even though I'm a millennial and we've been through all these things, we still out here shining and laughing.
I can't with your freaking wordplay, bro. I can't.
We
Oh
still
my
out here
goodness.
shining on your downfall until one day it was just watch you on your downfall. Like, and those been some of the best. They will support you. They will pretend support you. It's about what you believe in this moment because this is about you. This isn't.
Got my man Big Grump on the other end, and your boy Stump the Grump over
Keep your head
here.
on a swivel, and let's just some responses don't
Have a
require
good time.
reaction. It's incumbent. There was one time like the guys didn't do something, and I was gonna snap on him. He's like, "Don't do that." He's like, "One, you just became the LPO, so two,
To not knock anybody who's older or younger, we have to understand that things were different in those times, right? Inventions came along to help make life easier. Don't get me wrong, there are truly some lazy people out here who don't want to do anything, who wants to go off their looks, but that's been in every generation. There's people who lived off their looks or lived off somebody else's back in each generation. So you can't say one generation is better than the other. Now, when it came down to technology wise, yes, as time goes by, technology is supposed to get better and make life easier, but we shouldn't be becoming dependent on technology either, right? We shouldn't becoming codependent. We should use the most technological thing that we have is our brain and keep developing things. And you and I've talked about this before about sitting down and being, if you want to be creative, because this is where I feel like people are losing their creativity at, instead of furthering their creativity, is just constantly using AI, right? We got to the point to where you grew up on this, and as I did, when we used to have encyclopedia books, when we had to learn the Dewey Decimal System,
On
Well,
the
we
internet
actually
now,
went
bro.
to we went to a library to actually get books. And we don't really have to do that anymore because everything can be downloaded to our cell phones. There is no point of people. I forgot people used to do authors used to do book tours, and which they probably still do, but you don't see it as much. But authors doing book tours, going from bookstore or libraries and signing books or reading chapters out of their book, their latest and greatest.
Yeah. The, how can I put it this way? Our generation is the last of where you experience life right in your face. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about the book tours, all that stuff. I can't even think of the last time I heard somebody doing a book tour. I can't even. We're the generation of the last. We're the generation of actual friendship interaction because you had to go outside to make friends. You had to. The game systems weren't connected like they were now. We're like you would play, there
Oh yeah,
was
they
no
weren't.
internet.
No, they
The only
no.
way you was playing a video game with your homie was if you met that man like when in your neighborhood, whatever. You met him, hey man, mom, dad, can such and such come over so we can play GameCube or whatever. Like
Or you
it's
had to hook
gone.
your what is it? Your the Nintendo game, the one with the buttons. Oh man,
Oh,
the Game Boy, the
the
Game
Game
Boys.
Boy, yeah.
You can hook your Game Boy. You can hook your Game Boy.
Yeah.
And you can connect your Game Boys together.
Yeah, but that's like our human interaction is gone now. As far as AI, I don't think AI is bad. You can be creative with AI. Where I think it's bad is the way I've seen it in the other industries and they're using it. I just seen that they're coming out with an AI adult robot. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
then those things are bad. And I think our generation, we got the best of both worlds. We got to see technology grow rapidly fast. We went from brick cell phones to touchscreens in less than 10 years, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's so we kind of I think our generation actually has a better understanding of technology than like the newer generation does. Because we've seen
Because
how
we were there.
fast it developed. Yeah.
But even then, we were there when it was developed. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. The newer generation knows how to use it better than we do because they sit down. A lot of them sit down and actually read the specs. Us, we just open the box and be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Turn on. Boom, boom. Can do this. Can do that," without
Yeah.
even knowing all the other features that we could do and play with in X, Y, and Z. We're just still playing on surface level.
Yeah. We'll basically just go and open up. We got the whole figure it out as you go method, right? You got something new. All right, I'll open the box. I'll turn it on, turn it off, play with it a little bit. Okay, it does this right now. All right, if it breaks or whatever, I'll figure it out. But which is not a bad, because then that also concept, it triggers something in your brain for you to like troubleshoot and do all these other things. So it's not a bad thing. But what I'm going to say is through all the generations right now is what I mostly see from like millennials up. Millennial parents have entitled too much of beta, alpha, and the younger generations. We've entitled them too much to too many options. So now when it comes to them being adults into the workforce, they're being picky and choosy. Vice, like we didn't grow up like that. It was like, hey, you got to get a job. Whatever's available and they hire you, your ass is gonna work. Cool. Like now it's all I'm not getting the salary I want, or it's this, it's that. It's good. Like economies, you know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. Like
I get what you're saying. You can't be picky and choosy at a certain time when you need a job, but also too, as millennial parents, we're teaching them to actually stand up for themselves because we saw our parents go through the same issues and not stand up for themselves, or we did see them stand up for themselves and they got fired for speaking up about, hey, why am I getting paid less, but I got to do more? And even then, even for us, when we had specific jobs, like, why am I getting paid less and you want me to do this? You tell me I'm your best worker, but I'm not getting paid as much as the guy that you just told me sucks at his job. That's the biggest thing. So if you already start off, because some of these things are unrealistic to me, right? How do you, I'm supposed to have 5 years of experience at this specific job you're going to college for, and you spent 3.5 years in college trying to get this degree for this job, and unless because you're not making the money in college like you're supposed to. But at the same time, unless you get a paid internship, some people can't afford to do free internships.
No,
Some people,
they can't.
some people can't. Some people can't afford just to work there for the experience. They got bills to pay because you don't know what their social situation is. And then if they don't do internships while they're in college, guess what? Trying to go get a job, and the job literally says, "Oh yeah, you need 5 years of experience working here." Okay, cool. Don't get me wrong, there's always to make a way, but that's a crazy concept coming for a college student who just got out. I'm not saying, hey, you should be getting paid the big bucks. Yes, you need to come in entry level, take that entry level pay, and then work your way up and start outperforming people, in which some people, they do get complacent when, oh yeah, I'm making decent money, I'm good, I don't have to do anything. But then you can't get mad when Johnny on the spot, what's the average age of graduating college? 25, comes in, start showing out, boom, boom, and then they surpass you. You can't be mad. It's, oh, I was the one that trained you. Bro, check this out. You were comfortable where you're at. You're only mad now because Johnny on the spot, who's 25, probably old as your son or daughter, and they're telling you what to do now, and you're 40 some years old. That's how it happens. That's how the military is majority of the time. You have to understand that.
There's a point as an adult growing up. I'm an adult. I shouldn't be told what to do or when to say. And I guess sometimes you're forgetful. You got to write shit down, whatever. But on a day-to-day basis, bro, as an adult, I shouldn't have to tell you, hey, you need to go wash your ass, or you need to go brush your teeth, or you need to go, bro. This is all stuff you should already know. But it'd be the simple stuff that you'd be like, dude, I got to go tell somebody at this job right now that I work, a grown adult, to go do this because they don't do it. But, and that's what I'm saying. When it comes to generations, do you think us as millennial parents are raising our children the right way? And I'm not saying, and what I'm trying to say is, are there ones millennial parents that kind of have? I feel like I'm raising Josiah the right way, right? I live by I'm trying to give him what I feel like I didn't have as a dad in his life, right? And with that understanding, not just freaking tearing his butt up because he's just want to be a kid type thing, or he's just trying to understand a certain situation. But I think I'm going to get flack for this. I call it the MTV era of mom and dad, because we grew up in the era of reality TV in the beginning, and the first thing on reality TV was 16 and pregnant. On plenty of freaking channels. It wasn't just MTV. Like every freaking dang near 16 and Pregnant was the most popular show from the late 99s to all the way almost up until the mid 2000s. And I feel like, just hear me out, I feel like we were building that concept, and everybody was like, oh, if I get pregnant early, I'll freaking get on 16 and pregnant and I can do it. I've literally seen people like, I'm trying to get, I don't, and it goes back to the babies raising babies.
I get what you're saying. I understand where you're going or trying to go with this. Once again, if you look at the generations, look at it again, go back, talk to your old folks. A lot of them got pregnant young.
Oh yeah, 100%. My mom did.
And they didn't have TV. They didn't have TV. So what was their excuse?
Yeah.
You gotta look at it. You gotta look at it that way. You can't. And this is where there is a wrong way to raise children. There's a right way. Where I think I understand what you're trying to get at. Where we feel it as millennials is that we try to go off past trauma. We try to raise our children off of what we didn't want to be raised like. Oh, I'm not gonna whoop my child. There's a difference between a beating and a whooping. There's a difference between discipline and corporal punishment. And seeing that most of us don't understand that difference, some people go as far as, I'm not going to whoop my child because I might go too far. I don't know the difference, blah, blah, this, that, and the third. But a lot of people forget that they need to discipline their children. And this is why they become arrogant, entitled, and stuff like that, because you sit here and you're like, okay, cool. My dad, my mom used to beat me until I was black and blue and all these extra other things. Cool. That's fine. You have to have that understanding, to have that restraint to not go that far. Me personally, yes, children need to be disciplined. And it's not for the fact of them being children. Children being children, having fun, going out and playing, yes. Like you talked about a couple times, you going out stealing something, yes. Do you need a whooping? Yes. You might need a whooping. Yes. Do you need to be disciplined? Yes. But there is a way to do it. But also, too, there is a way to have a conversation with your child to understand, hey, this isn't good. The path that you're going to end up going down the path. Like my dad used to, Sundays will be our family meeting days. And my dad would tell me and my sisters all the time, hey, look, check this out. All this stuff y'all want to do, y'all want to go play out in the streets and go hang out with your friends and all that other stuff. Cool, that's fine. But the stuff that they're doing, you're not going to be doing in this house. Because as soon as you feel like you too grown to stay out in the street all night, you want to go sell drugs, you want to go do X, Y, and Z, then you're moving out of this house. And the reason why he could say that is because he wasn't raising us to do that. Because that was the things he was doing as a child when he was growing up in his mom and dad house. He was out all night drinking, running the streets, doing X, Y, and Z. And he didn't want that for us. My dad was a really smart man, looking at his grades from junior high all up until high school until he dropped out, and then he went to Job Corps. Even when he went to Job Corps, his grades were freaking excellent. So he understood what it meant to have an education. He understood what it meant to not have his kids run the streets like he ran the streets. He understood what it meant. So when we did stupid things like that or said stupid things like that, don't get me wrong, in a lot of moments, he didn't talk to us. We got punished, but he gave us ample opportunity a lot of the times. He gave us a lot of leadway. And yeah, if you saw stuff on TV, cool. Once again, that's what you saw on TV. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people act that stuff out, but at the same time, we should take the reins as adults. And once again, this is the biggest thing. Like I know, millennials, if you look throughout from when our generation started to the point of our generation ending and starting onto a new generation, there was a lot of things that happened during our time. A lot of things we've seen and experienced, and it's a lot for anybody. It's a literal lot for anybody. Yes. Should you go to therapy? Yes. A lot of people should go to therapy. 110%. I recommend everyone goes to therapy. Everyone should go to therapy and talk about the things that you want to talk about, that you felt like you've never been listened to, you've never been seen, you've been abandoned by certain people, especially like in your instance or my instance, how we kept moving around. So yes, you would make friends every so often, or you had to build this wall or persona or characteristic just to fit in or so everybody can get to like you. Yes. Yes. Do I feel like everybody need to go to therapy and work through that trauma, work through those issues? 110%. Because even the most well-developed or grown-up person, they have their own issues that they got to deal with.
Yeah. Well,
I've watched people literally fall apart and when they found out their idol wasn't squeaky clean.
it's crazy because the people are that idolize that person so much like that. You think that I'm like, you got to know that your life isn't perfect. What you much you think is like that, bro. I think of how many people did the Hulk Hogan documentary. Just think how many people, adult,
Bro,
were just like,
bro.
besides, you know what I'm saying? I just unraveled. I can't believe, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. For me, I never.
My man did so much coke.
Yeah, and I never really idolized anybody where I was just like, I wasn't the kid in my room. When you go in my room in high school, I had all these posters up of people. I want to be like them. Only person I really truly wanted to be like when I remember as a kid was my grandpa. That was it. I didn't care about, I liked the Ninja Turtles growing up and stuff like that, but I never idolized them where they're like all over my wall and stuff like that, bro. And I was more of a music head, so I just worried about collecting music and CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I could say we also, we're going back to therapy, there are generations that they just won't do that, right? They grew up in the era where it's like you freak out. You know what I'm saying? I think our generation is the ones that finally started accepting, maybe, you know what, maybe I do need therapy. And that's good. That's good. Are there older generations that probably have gone finally and started trying to talk about things? Yeah, and kudos to them. But for the most part, that era before us, the baby boomers and all them cats, there was no therapy. It was just like, hey, there was no diagnosis.
They didn't believe in it.
They didn't believe in it, but there's also was no diagnosis for people who are on the spectrum. They were just like, oh, Little Eddie's special. Like,
Little
Eddie's,
just don't.
Yeah, just don't. You know,
Just leave him alone.
Cool. Yeah, just leave him alone. He doing his thing. Little Eddie, we grew up. That's the era we grew up in, and now we're trying to. You can see where I guess we're trying to help course correct that. No, we need to figure this out because we're actually living people, and that's why I think there's so many secrets. There's more like
so many secrets.
Yeah, there are secrets, but I'm saying a lot of homeless people, there are on the spectrum, and people, they grew up out of the house and they didn't know what to do with them, and they didn't know how to act and fun, and so they're on the streets. You know what I mean? People don't understand that concept. That people used to just drop little whatever out onto the street and try to let them that's the type of the era that we grew up in, and it's not right. I'm just saying, but that's what it is. Luckily, yes, I think our generation is trying to course correct a lot of things. No, we're taking a stand against just being negligent against people and who they are and all this other stuff. But I noticed it in my son. Josiah learned how to surface and navigate through YouTube and all that other stuff by the time he was 3, before he could read. That blows my mind. Like that, just thinking about that. He could use the phone and the remote to find whatever channel he wants, but
it's like what we talked about before, right? They grew up in it. We grew up while it was being developed. There's a difference. There's a whole difference.
Yeah, no, I did. Different. But and it's not, he doesn't know how to read. He does, but it was like that just blew my mind. Before you knew, so you could be like Coco Melon. What? You know what I'm saying? But I think this is what I noticed through all the generation. Everybody's I keep hearing the different terms. This generation is lazy. I think there's lazy people in every generation. We just didn't. Obviously, you grew up in a time where technology. We're in a time of technology where everybody posts about this person and that person. This person's lazy. I think 100% honestly, everybody has some laziness in them, and it's just you choose when you want to be lazy. Some people, yes, they're just plain out. They have no drive. They don't know what they want to do out of life, and that's also still comes down to parenting. If you're a parent that's been on aloof your whole life, and you messed around and had kids, your kids are going to turn out the way you show up for yourself. People don't understand that. If you show up for yourself, you're just like, that's whatever. Every day. Are your kids not
going to turn out like you at home?
Are they
like you?
Yeah, and then that bothers them. You want to freaking look at our mom. Look at we're fucking living in a trailer, or we're living in Section 8. Like, when is this going to change? We can be doing better. You guys are choosing that. So you know what I'm saying? And some kids are born and get constantly woken up and they notice this wrong. I got to get out of here. This isn't life. But there's a little bit of everything in every generation. It's just now social media speaks on it a lot more because you get to see it. It's already been like, the thing I can say is a lot of stuff they're talking about generational this, generational that. The only difference is now is that social media, you have people speaking on it. That's it. I think all the bad stuff has been happening. It
didn't just start overnight.
Yeah, that's like it just did. The bad stuff.
That's what people make it seem like. That's what people really make it seem like.
Yeah, no, the bad stuff has been happening. It's just now social media exposes you to it, and most people are on their phone every day looking at TikTok and all this other stuff. And they're like, oh, this happened to little Jimmy and blah blah blah. No, that happened before. It's just a different time period where people are talking about it now. Are some things helpful when it comes to stuff like that? Yes, but like all this bad stuff's been happening, and we just got to learn how to navigate through it differently now. You got to learn how to choose what you want to see. But at the same time, that's like the old term. Sometimes you got to turn a blind eye. if you're choosing what you want to see in your algorithms, it's also the same thing. If you want to be consciously aware and all this other stuff, then you're going to choose to pick the things that you want to see in your social media. But back in the day, it was just like, oh, we just turned a blind eye on that. If you knew your neighbors are always fighting, right? You grew up in that concept. If it's our neighbors, they don't get along well, whatever, that type of stuff. But you can choose to be like, hey, it's getting bad. Everybody knows. Y'all need to figure. I'm not saying be in people's business, right? But I also seen things. Well, growing up, we had some. This is what I'm saying is we had some neighbors that, like, when I say they got down and when they were fighting, it was stuff being broken. You could hear this stuff, and they're right next to us. But overall, in the generations, as far as everything's still there. Everything's the same. It's just social media makes it more open for you to see and understand it. I think us as a millennial generation, I think we're the ones trying to break cycles. I 100% believe that. We're trying to break cycles for everything, not just health, all that too. We grew up in the era, once you hit 40, it's like, all right, you got to decline, you need to slow down and all this other stuff. You need to not be active anymore. And I think we're the ones like, that, dude, what? That doesn't even make sense. Like, why do I need to stop doing certain things? Like you said in the previous episode, why do I need to stop doing certain things just because you think it's this or whatever? Bro, I want to stay as active as long as possible. I want to enjoy this nerdy life that I do enjoy for as long as possible. You know what I mean? And be able to dress well when I want to, or be able to dress down when I want to. But
110%. 110%.
What I want to say, through all the generations, everything's been happening. Social media exposes it. We got to stop. The only thing I think, I'm not saying we got to stop it, but stop giving so much entitlement to your kids so they can, when they get to the real world, they're like, yo, it doesn't happen like this. Like I said, I need to figure it out. We give our kids too much. I can't say that. As far as, because we're trying to raise them better than what we thought we had, but so sometimes we overload.
But then also too, a lot of people, and I see this because I go through this with my sister sometimes. It's like you can't keep your kids in a bubble. You can't keep your kids in a bubble because guess what? We weren't kept in a bubble, and that's what saved us, right? That's what saved us by not being kept in that bubble. Also, too, me and my mom and my grandma and my grandmother and my grandfather, we used to talk about this a lot when my grandparents were alive. My mom's still alive, and her and I should chat about this. The older generation, my beef with them sometimes is how they kept secrets, and you won't find out certain things until they're on their deathbed. Oh, hey, you know your uncle? Not really your uncle. What? What is going on here?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. They kept secrets for so long. They kept the lie going for so long until whatever moment they feel like they're on their deathbed, or they take the stuff to the grave, and you find out later on that this person really isn't the person who they were told that they were for the longest of time.
Yeah.
That's my beef with the prior generation. I get it. That's what they grew up on. That's how they were supposed to protect and keep things going in the household. But it doesn't help the current generation, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard where, oh, I found out this was the person I've been dating was my cousin, or this is my sister. Now, once again, there's negligence on the parents for not being like, hey, yo, you might not want to talk to that person because of X, Y, and Z. And that's my biggest thing. The biggest thing with our generation is we go from extremes. We go from the extreme of, hey, free will, go do this, go live your best life, blah, blah, blah. Or we go to the extreme of, hey, yeah, you're not going outside. You're not going to hang out with nobody. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You're going from school to home, and then, or school, work, and then home. X, Y, and Z. There's very few that you catch the middle ground on, and it's, hey, I'm going to trust you to go do whatever because I raised you right, this, that, and the third. And that's fine. And a lot of people do that. But majority of the time, the big majority of our generation, I see we go extreme left or we go extreme right. Or in the small part, like I said, there's a middle ground for some people. But then also, too, I see a lot of them that give up on people as well. You'll be surprised at how many people join the military and it's like, oh, it's because my family abandoned me. And or why some kids are homeless is because their families abandoned them. And I'm not saying they're innocent in the situation either where, oh yeah, my family just abandoned me. Don't get me wrong. I knew that I had a student when I was being an instructor, and I was like, hey man, you need to put down an emergency number. And he at the time he put down his roommate's number that he was staying in the barracks. I was like, hey, yo, you don't got no family, no parent or anything, so I don't think this is gonna fly. I can ask Chief, but I don't think it's gonna fly. And he's, yeah, my mom moved again, and she didn't tell me where she moved, and she changed her number. I was like, so you don't got a grandma, no cousins, nobody's now. I don't know nobody else except that person. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this, and I felt really bad. I felt
It hurts, bro.
sorry for
It's
this
like-
person because I can call my mom at any time. My mom calls me like 5 times a day. Like, and this man can't even get his mom to give her to remember, hey, mom moved. She can't remember to give him her new number or if she even wanted to be bothered. And you'll be surprised at how many people go through that. How many people
I'm honestly
literally me, I thought I didn't the way I grew up versus me coming into the military and hearing all these people's stories of how their family dynamic works. And it's not, and I'm not talking about people with single family homes. I'm talking about people who don't know past their mom and dad because they don't know any cousins, they don't know grandparents, they don't know nothing. All they know is mom and dad. And when mom and dad either leave this earthly realm or don't talk to them no more, they don't know that, oh yeah, I got a cousin over here, I got a cousin over there, or even how certain siblings, because you and your brother talk, me and my sisters talk, but I remember one guy told me he hadn't talked to his siblings in 10 years and there was no beef. They just didn't talk.
Bro, think about this, bro. I know you remember this movie, Antoine Fisher, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What you were telling me, it don't, and mind you, I got cousins that were doorstep babies. They got dropped off at the doorstep in a box because of the situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's so I just haven't. I don't know. I just have an understanding behind it. I get it, but like I said, when it comes to generation, we also came from the crack era generation. So a lot of freaking
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I already have an and I kind of seen some things growing. I seen some things growing up in my family, so I get it. I hope for that young sailor, it's like he meets somebody that comes from a level loving, steady household, so he can know what it feels like because he's never had that. Those are the type of things I wish for when I hear stuff like that. Hey, I hope you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to. It don't make no sense to meet somebody and be back in the same situation. You never know what that's like, but I get it, man. Some people, we literally came from the coming out the full. Now, is there another era, pandemic around of drugs? Yes, and we all know it. But we're gonna say the crack era is bad, but every era with every generation of bad stuff is just. I think in our I don't know how bad it was in your family. It all depends on where you're at in life and how you've seen it. Right now, the big thing is we see fentanyl. Right, fentanyl is horrendous right now, to the point that they weren't doing that. What they're doing now to save people, they weren't doing that back in the 80s. It's just like you could do overdose overnight and be found dead. You know what I'm saying? Now they're trying to save people. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. But 100%. We did come from the generation of when crack was introduced in the 70s and they had babies and then never really fought their demons and all this other stuff. If you fought up out of that and you're alive now and you're doing well, man, kudos to you because I get it. It's hard. It's not easy, especially if you're born with crack in your system. We came from that, you know what I'm saying? So, luckily, there are things that are helped now and you can fight through that stuff. But overall, I'm gonna say this: through every generation, there's something bad, and there's also something good. It's all dependent on your experiences in life. But we can all take something from every generation and learn something. Even the newer generation, they can show you. So just be be an open book, and just be willing to learn. Don't cap yourself be a Mr. Know-it-all, because nobody knows it all. I don't care how long you've been on this earth. Nobody knows it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Yep.
Generationally, I do say, in my personal opinion, I think the millennials are the better era, and that's just my personal opinion, just because as much as we've been through. You know what I'm saying? Doomsdays, Y2K. Shoot, when I was born, was it February 3rd, 86? The freaking Apollo blew up. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff happened within our generation. Like, all this crazy, the Twin Towers, all this stuff so I feel like I'm saying the better generation is we start to have better understanding for life and how to see the world and view the world, so we can teach us the next generation, hey, it's not easy, but you can build a happy life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 110%. And that's why I look at when people say, oh yeah, this later generation, we generation. They're really not. That generation is out there living a free will. They got whole Twitch accounts making money, making millions of dollars, breaking the algorithm on social media alone. And they understand what it is not to work a menial job, right? If you got to work a job, you work a job, but they're not out here to ask what they're worth. Ask for what they're worth. While most of us are still going through classes and read self-help books, trying to figure out, hey, look, this is what my worth is. And going in and tell another man or woman, hey, I need a raise because of this. I do this. Not no 50-cent raise, not no dollar raise. I need to get paid what they're willing to pay me over here at this job at the end of the day. And if you don't want to do that, cool. Walk. A lot of people don't understand that they have the power. They hold their own power. They hold their own fate in their hands. But the way they were raised and taught are the things that they saw. Hey, be happy for what you got. That's great. Be happy with what you got until you can do better. And once you start doing better, guess what? Do better. Exceed, excel.
Third.
Right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. To me personally, I agree with you. No generation is better than any other generation. We're all just trying to figure out ways to make it and make it through our own trauma. As of right now, therapy is readily available for anybody. It sucks that there is a wait. Yes, it sucks that there's a lot of homeless people on the street because they can't get mental help at the rate that they need it. But then also, too, you'll be surprised at this. There's a lot of people who choose to be homeless because they're tired of the hustle and bustle.
Yep, 100%.
That's another thing. They rather not deal with the hustle and bustle and be on the street and be free. It just depends on what your definition of being free is.
Yep.
That person that person that you say that's still on drugs or addicted to drugs and refuse to get help is because majority of the time they don't want to deal with what's going on in the world. And there's a lot. Or they don't want to deal with what's going on in their life. Once again, I always recommend this. Seek help if you can get it. Try. Reach out to somebody. There's always somebody willing to help. But it's got to be
scared.
On you.
Do not be scared to break the generational curse.
It's on you. Always.
If you're the first one to go to therapy, be the first one to go to therapy.
Be the change.
If you're the first, be the freaking change. But with that,
be the change.
Grumpy Gills.
Until next time. Much love.
Man, just subscribe already.